Right, here we are in the silent forest. Not much air today. And I'm probably going to lose a load of subs and everything like that, or anybody who sees this is probably going to desub for me for this, right? Okay. But, well, quite a long time ago now, when Simon was still alive, chap that worked with me, I have to use the word friend very, very carefully. I mean, I don't think Simon ever really had any friends as such. His personality was such that he didn't really think. And do excuse me being breathless because we're climbing. This is a very steep climb at the moment. Anyway, between us, Simon, who's a sailor, who worked with me, between us, we came to the realization, due to communications and semaphore, that there was the most likely sort of explanation of what we discovered was that the world was flat, not a ball. Now, this sort of like getting something, your head round something like this after you've been completely programmed your whole life to believe that we were living on a ball, spinning in space, tilting it some angle, and this was happening and that was happening. And a couple of things that scientifically I did find difficult to work out was, one of the ones that I did find working out was the seasons. Because, we're nearer the sun in the winter and we're further away from the sun. Why aren't the seasons on Earth, if we were a spinning ball, in the northern hemisphere and the southern hemisphere, exactly the same? Because at 93 million miles, the sun's ray would be sort of like virtually parallel. Couldn't, they would be, and so it would be the same on the upper hemisphere as it is on the lower hemisphere. And why would there even be any seasons at all, except as if the orbiting of the sun apparently was elliptical, then, but all the seasons in the northern hemisphere would be exactly the same as the seasons in the southern hemisphere. So that used to sort of, I couldn't get my head around the seasons, never could. So when I sort of like discovered that on a sort of like, we could see far too far for it to be on a ball, I became what was known as a flatheader, flat earther. And I live in a small village. And I can remember one day I was sitting in the pub and I was talking to a load of people. And I thought, well, I'll try this. And they said something about, all over the world. I said, except it's not all around the world. I said, we're living on a flat plane. It's not a globe. It's flat. And the reaction was quite astonishing. I mean, I went from being a good bloke to being absolutely ridiculed in having the thing, and people sort of literally refusing to even stand near me for saying that. It was, I was a heretic. I was a global heretic. And that one thing in the pub cost me almost my whole social life in a stroke, Mind you, I've been getting my head around it for a few years by that time, because it's not a little thing to get your head around, because our whole lives we've been indoctrinated. Every time you turn on the telly, every film you watch, everything, there's a picture of this spinning ball in space that just isn't true. And I know You know, people say, oh God, how can you even go there and everything like that. Well, why would they do that? Why would they lie? Oh, there's a million reasons why they would lie. Let's face it, they seem to lie about everything else, so why shouldn't they lie about where we live? If you don't even know where you live, what do you know? Yeah. One thing it did bring me back to, because I always had, I not had a very, very authority. I've never really, really done well with authority in my life. But religion, but it brought me back to God, because we are on a flat plane, and all the stars and the sun and the moon are local and spinning around us, because we are stationary. I mean, stationary. According to this scene that you're seeing here is flying through space at over 1,000,000 miles an hour. Yeah. No, it's not. It's stationary. And how far the plane goes, nobody knows. There's no edge. There's no thing like that, as far as we know. And how far everything goes, we do not know. All we know, all I know, is it's not a ball. That's the after all these years, that's the depth of my knowledge. It's not a ball. It's a flat plane. That's all I know. Everything else is subjecture. I'm sorry to sort of like tell you this, but that's true. And I can understand the enormity of having to sort of get over the fact that you've been lied to about this ball earth thing your whole life. I mean, that's shattering. That destroys your view on the world. It's very upsetting. But once you get through it and get over that hump, it's liberating, it's free. It's very, very liberating. Peace and love, people. And there is a God, because he made this.